So last time I re-glued the mirror. That seems pretty sturdy now. I mean, you can't move it around or anything. And in the meantime, I also cleaned the bellows and everything else on this part of the camera. I polished these two little dimples that are made of metal, the ones that I talked about closing that contact on the body of the camera. And before moving on to the shutter assembly, which is right now uncharted territory for me, except for looking at a couple of videos on YouTube, I am going to actually put this back, so the two halves of the camera, while trying to keep the dust away. Okay. This is my improvised tool for actually cleaning a bit those two contacts here. So what I did, I simply cut a very thin strip of sanding paper. I think it's a 300 grit or something like that. Taped it with a bit of masking tape and just use it like this to clean those contacts. And at the end I also used a bit of alcohol also on the sanding paper to kind of clean some of the debris, if that helps, I don't know. Alright, I also added a very little dab of grease on this pivoting point that will go inside of this guiding rail. I don't know if it's necessary. I'm going to make sure there's no excess, but I thought it would be okay. So first of all, I think I need to attach this arm to the rail, and then I will need to lower this little ledge inside of that cutout part. And I think these 2 points are simply going to snap in place. So when I'm going to push one here and one there, it should snap in place, I hope. So that's my theory. And then I will be able to lower the bellows and attach them with no more clips. This isn't glue, is it? No, I think this bevel, this edge, simply goes in this channel, and that's enough to keep any stray light away. Alright, let's see. I mean, I don't remember seeing the instant camera guy using anything at this stage. Alright, so that one goes in there, and I can either put back the two pins on this side and then lower it. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. that one snapped in place. This one didn't. Oh, it did now. Okay. This one seems nice and tight. This one seems a bit loose. So I think I'm going to also try to bend it ever so slightly. Come on. All right. But this thing is kind of loose, kind of very loose. Oh no, I need the two screws that go here. Yeah. So I think these are the screws. All right. Then I can put this part back. All right. So I still need to clean this one. Not very important right now. I'll need to take care of that one. I'll need to clean... No, actually I did clean this one. And in theory I can attach it back right now because I no longer need to access anything here. Also, I will be able to clean the optics without taking it apart anyway. Okay. And this one has 2 longer pins and 2 shorter pins. And I also have 2 quite long ones that should go I forgot. I forgot. Oh no, the long ones go here, but I'll probably not use them. Yeah, so no need for those. This one a bit later, and now shorter pins go to the back because the distance is shorter than in the front. So okay, nice. Nice. Okay, high hopes. I still have high hopes that it will run. This one is just no, I'm not going to put it back. I'll just leave it alone and give it a good clean. Okay. And now for this part. What do I know about this part? Well, in order to reach the electric eye, that is this one, I think, and which looks pretty nice, although I'm not really sure if this is the actual. No, it's not the eye. I think it's just like a lens of some sort, and the eye is right beneath this part of the flexi board, of the main board. I could also get all this part out bit of squeaking here. How do I start? Yeah, fuck it, I'll just take it out. Worst case scenario, I still have 2 more of these that I can look and find inspiration. So in case something goes wrong, I can still somehow manage to put them back, I think. So this part should just lift. 2 screws, take them out, and the entire thing gets out. Okay, round hole both in this piece and in the piece beneath it, so it means it only has one position. And as far as I know, there is nothing that will jump out of jump from under this thing. Well, is it just stuck, or is there something else? No, it's just stuck. Okay, so this is the exposure compensation thing that actually either removes all those filters altogether, leaves only one filter, or adds another one. This cam, I'm not really sure what it does. It's probably not important right now. Then there is this thing that is attached via, I think, 2 little plastic pins. So or is it glued? It might be glued. I could just leave it alone. Then these are the shutter blades, and I also need to take out the front lens, and I will also clean the optics as well. Now, in order to take out this lens, it's obviously screwed on something, otherwise it wouldn't go up and down. And its movement is only limited by this. So if I take this gear out, then I will be able to unscrew this gear. But unscrewing it is one thing, screwing it back in the exact same position is another thing. If I don't get the position correctly, the camera won't be able to focus anymore. Luckily, since it's an SLR, if there's a problem, I will see it. So I will look in the viewfinder and I will see that things are off. But still, I don't want to mess around with it. So my idea is to take some notes. For instance, when at infinity, the edge of this edge of the lens is pretty much flush to this part of the body. Actually, the lens is just a bit more inwards, but since even the slightest movement will take it from that position, so it will raise it or take it frontwards quite a lot, it means that this position is probably one of a kind. And I need to know which line corresponds to 6 o'clock when in this position, because this is the infinity position. So in order to keep it super straight and simple, I will just add a little bit of tape. Right there. I will draw that line, and now I know how this thing needs to be when at infinity. So when this gear is at infinity, which is the clockwise most position, and it should be fine. Okay, next would be removing this circlip, or however it's called, but I think it's a circlip. Unfortunately, I don't think I have the correct tool for that. Well, I guess if there's a will, there's a way. Okay, and theoretically, this one can now be lifted out. So right now, this gear moves from one end to the other of its travel. This one doesn't. And this is the way it goes out, this is the way it goes in. Usually it's nice to take another note of how much more it can turn from that set position of whatever it is, infinity, usually it's infinity. How much more can it turn until it stops against something hard? And in this case it turns like a couple of teeth. So I know that I need to put it back, screw it down all the way, and then screw it back until this line aligns with the middle of the body. What I don't know if it's a regular screw or if it's some sort of a helicoid with multiple entrances. And for that I will prepare another little piece of tape just in case, because better safe than sorry. Okay, and now I'm going to, that was the click that it makes when it gets out of the threads. And I will make another sign, let's say an arrow, which means that this is the position I need to use when getting this optical piece back in its tracks. And as far as I can see, it looks like a helicoid. It's not a thread because, let's see. See? This is another entry. And if I go by that entry, they no longer align. This is probably another entry somewhere here. See? So only this one is the correct one. In the case of the newer cameras, so those that have actual markings in feet or meters from infinity to 0.3, or what's the closest focusing distance in meters, it's a lot easier. I mean, a lot easier. It's the same, but you don't need these little stickers because obviously infinity is infinity. It will align with something that's probably the bottom, um, the lower part of the assembly, and you can use for reference any other marking on the lens. So maybe it detaches at I don't know, the 10 meters marking or something. But in my case, I need those stickers. So that's the front um, lens, because it's a single element from what I can see. It has quite a bit of fingerprints and dust and whatnot. This is the rear, that looks a lot cleaner. And right now, obviously, I could test things like this solenoid, things for the flash, but um, I'm not really sure what I'm doing. So I think I will only maybe take this one off and use some grease to make it a little harder to turn. Right now it's super easy to turn, and the focus throw should be a little bit more stiff, a little bit dampened. I don't know if I can take this nut out. I'm not really sure. I mean, I for sure don't have a special tool for that. I don't have a special pliers for that. I don't have a hex key for that. But apparently I don't even need to, because it's not super tight. Okay, before taking this gear off, what I know for sure is that this pin that is kept in place between its cylinder and the actual gear has a very tiny spring inside the chamber of the piston or whatever it is, and that spring must not be lost. That much I remembered from the internet. So this is the gear, and this is the channel that dictates the throw, um, the range of motion, because it does it does a full circle, but as it turns, the pin that also restricts the movement also moves this, that is in charge of, I think, compensating the flash exposure, because obviously when or the aperture, no, it closes the aperture differently when you are using flash, because if the distance is very close, then the aperture must be a lot smaller in order to keep the exposure correct, something like that. Okay, so this is the pin, and this is the little Jesus, the little spring. All right, we are good, and I want to lubricate this thing a bit. because it's very squeaky. Now, in order to lubricate it, I'm not really sure what I should use. So it has one pivoting point here. It's not really rubbing against anything, so I don't think the squeak is from here, but most likely from here. One option would be to dry lubricate it with some tungsten disulfide or moly powder. The other option would be to actually disassemble even further. So take this off, take this off, take this spring off, and lubricate it somehow, but I don't know really how. So I think I'm going to go for the dry lubrication. I don't know if it's okay or not, but I suppose it's okay. But let's make a test. So this is the tungsten disulfide, ultra fine grade powder. It has an average of 0.5 microns for each particle, and it's made by Microlubrol, which are the same guys that make Helimax XP. So this is the grease that I usually use for the lenses. And what else? Well, it's a lot of powder inside, so it's pretty much full like this much, and I will probably use it like forever, because what I do, I just, let's not make a mess, I tap the bottom so some powder drops into this little plastic cassette, and that's the amount that I use in, I don't know, a lot of time, so I don't really use it much. And what I want to check is if this powder conducts or not electricity. I don't think it matters, but I don't want to short anything on the control unit. So if I touch the probes, obviously it conducts, but if I put the probes anywhere inside here, it does not. And the particles are probably fine enough to be conductive if the material is conductive. So I think we are safe. And probably if I were to use graphite powder, it would beep, but I don't no longer have graphite powder. I got rid of my stash of so I had like graphite, something like this. I threw it all away and used the plastic bottle to keep moly powder inside. But this one, as far as I know, is more slippery than the moly powder. So I'm going to be a bit what's the word that I'm looking for? Generous. I'm going to be a bit generous with the powder, because afterwards I'm going to blow all the excess away with some compressed air. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay. And for this, I am going to use just a bit of lubrication on the shaft. So, and lubrication in this case means this Teflon grease made by Bader Planetarium. It's theoretically used for telescopes and stuff like that. So it's quite thick. It would qualify as a, I don't know, maybe firm from the thickness point of view. And I usually use it on the aperture rings of clickless lenses like the Jupiter, or the Jupiter 8, or plenty of the Industars, and it does a very fine job. Okay, so just a bit of that grease on the shaft, and a little spring. Okay, the pin. Come on. And now the gear. Well, not much has happened. I guess it's too small to actually count or make a difference. Okay. It is a bit better, so I'm not complaining, but it's not really what I hoped for. But that doesn't matter. So, okay, right now it's at least not squeaking anymore. Now, the instant camera guy recommends taking the blades out and clean them of their coating. That's an anti-stick coat, so it's just something very slippery. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because the blades seem to work fine, and I don't really... I don't want to complicate life anymore right now. They really seem in a very good condition. The lens looks in a good condition. I usually use this to check for any kind of surface problems. Just a little bit of dust. and if there's anything in between these lens elements, I'll just leave them alone, because it's probably nowhere near enough to actually make a difference and be visible in the pictures. Not that the Polaroids are that good that you could spot specks of dust from your lens, so I will just leave them alone for the time being. I don't really know right now how to take them off. I think you can just take them off, but you need to kind of bend them, and I would rather not. So yeah, I'll try to keep it simple this time, but I will clean the optics as much as possible. So a little alcohol, and I will start with the back one, just in case all that I see as a problem is there. Funky color. This is in theory lint-free paper. It's not quite lint-free, but that's okay. What I can see is something that looks like a bit of fungus in between the elements. Yes, that's a bit of fungus. No, I will not take it apart. I will not take it apart. I'm not really sure how it's glued in there. No, I'm not. I am not, because I do not want more problems than I already have. I'm sure it's perfectly doable, but sometimes you just need to resist the urge of breaking something that's actually functional and kind of know your limits. And right now I feel that my limits have been reached. But yes, there is quite a lot of dust in between these two elements, something that looks like a hair or some lint, and something that certainly looks like fungus. So obviously the best way of moving forwards would be to actually separate them, but maybe some other day, maybe some other camera. Since I'm keeping it for myself, I don't think I will be very upset with it being like it is. Look at that. I will not insist on the front, so I don't remove the stickers, but even if there is finger mark or a fingerprint on the front of the lens, you can still see it from the back if you look from an angle. So I'm trying to remove as much as possible, so my evaluation of the rear surface is as good as possible, because obviously the rear will not be accessible after this point. Okay, that's good enough. And Jesus, I just had a thought. I should use the bloody helicoid on this, not on this. What the fuck is wrong with me? Obviously, it needs to be on the helicoid, not on the ring. Yeah. Now, one reason why they didn't use any grease is probably the fact that the helicoid of this lens is so close to the actual lens element. Now, in theory, this should be safe. I mean, it shouldn't outgas, it shouldn't separate, it shouldn't run to different places. So I guess I could use a bit. Worst case scenario, I will start seeing sort of a condensation inside, and that's a sign that the grease is doing things. And that's the point where I can simply take the cover off, take this off, clean them, put them back together. So I think that's okay. And I'm only dabbing here and there. Now this is totally unofficial. I have no idea if this is okay or not. It's probably not okay. But the biggest and best way to learn things is to make mistakes. Well, obviously I don't like to be wrong or to make mistakes, but sometimes they are inevitable. Some other times I'm just asking for it. So like now, I could just leave it alone, but I'm really curious what happens if. So I guess I will know what happens if. Okay, this needs to be totally aligned here. This one needs to be totally turned. The little spring got detached. Very interesting mechanism, I gotta say. Alright, I'm not really sure how it works, but I don't care because it's flash related. Okay, so counter clockwise to the end of its travel. So counter clockwise most position. This one needs to be dead on 6 o'clock. It would have been an even nicer idea to make a point on this part as well, but I think I am pretty correct. And now this thing goes here and should mesh with both. Oh, that's better. And now the focusing is not, I mean, you won't move it just by looking at it. Of course, I could take it out again and see how much excess I have, and I don't really have much, so just a bit here. Okay, and just a bit on the lower parts of the threads that I can also remove without any kind of damage to the lens. All right, this one goes back here. And this one will go back because I'm not going to do anything more than just blow some air on these filters. All right, and that's a half done servicing of the shutter assembly, meaning that I did nothing to the shutter. I did only minor things to the lens. I did nothing to any kind of electromechanical parts here, this part or anything else related to the flash, and I will be doing nothing to either this capacitor or the electric eye, because I don't actually know how this camera behaves, so I have no initial benchmark. Also, since I do have a pack of SX-70 film and no pack of 600 film, I will just use it like this, at least for the time being. If I want to make a conversion afterwards, that will be easy. It will be easy enough. I mean, I don't need to disassemble the entire camera. I won't even need to desolder this. Okay, so I guess we are very close to the moment of truth. I just need to clean this little window. All right. if I'm going to work on Polaroids in the future, I will need a long screwdriver for these screws, because taking them out is easy, putting them back not so much. Okay, this one, the fourth one, I'll just leave it alone for the time being, because right now I am extremely anxious to see that the bloody thing actually works. I'm not really sure how I'm going to route this cable. Probably under this. Oh no, I should go through. So like this. Okay. Let me see how my other one looks like. Yeah, I can't look because it has the bottom cover on and I don't want to take it apart yet. So let's see, this one needs to go further to the back so I can reach with all the little wires. That means something like this, which means that I need to kind of get rid of this bracket. Because this one simply goes like this, so it was easy. Or I need to lose this one, but this one I can't really, because I will need to cut it. Oh god damn. see if this helps. So I'm basically pulling this protection spring towards the shutter unit, so I can feed it more towards the flexi cable. Obviously that's just the theory, but it worked. Okay, so now I have enough length for the wire, and I will start with the last one. I guess I overheated it when I desoldered the board. Alright. And right now we should be good to go. Obviously, famous last words, right? Let me see where my dummy pack of film is. So I've got a couple of these, and that one. So I'll just feed a couple of these empty pictures inside of the cartridge. Get the cartridge inside the camera. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And that happened. Well, that didn't sound promising. And I have no idea what's going on. The mirror is in taking position because I can see the image. I can focus the camera. But it sounds like the engine is not turning. And if I put the cartridge in the other one, that's a new one. Okay, so probably what happened to this one is that plastic coupler of the motor died because it's turning like forever and the gears are not spinning. And I can't seem to reset the mirror either. So yeah, fun times. God damn it, but it was working. This one on the other hand, it's not working and I have no idea why. No idea why, so I'm just going to go into a corner and cry. Because it's like the motor wants to turn, but it's not turning. And now I'm thinking, could it be a problem with the meshing the gears on the drivetrain? Why is it trying to lift the mirror? That sounds like an out of sync mechanism, because it should only spit out the dark slide and it should leave the mirror in place, right? Otherwise you can't take a picture. Well, I guess I need to go through the manual and maybe in the troubleshooting area there is something that kind of resembles what my problem is. I don't know. What I do know is that these gears of the drivetrain, come on, are right now quite difficult to turn, even when trying to reset the mirror. And I don't know how to interpret that. I mean, I don't know if that's normal, since right now they are actually turning the motor when turned by hand, or not. Obviously I can't compare it, the hardness of turning, I can't compare it to the white Polaroid, because if indeed it has a broken plastic connector, then it means the gear train is completely free, so it's normal that it turns easily. I managed to reset the mirror and collapse the camera, but right now, from one apparently working camera and one that I really had high hopes for, I am down to pretty much 2 broken cameras. One hopefully is a straight fix, the other one meaning, but this one I need to figure it out and to understand how to debug it, because right now it has a bug and I have no clue where to start looking. That's the biggest problem. Otherwise, looking good. Yeah, looking good, but it's a shame it's not working. So yes, I'm going to cry in a corner and I'll be back whenever I have an answer or I am out of tears. I'll see you next time. Bye.